Our next guest is no secret to this industry, Dr. Mark Berman, who is a board-certified plastic surgeon, and I believe was one of the major winners of an award from the Aesthetic Show. It was a proud honor to see Dr. Berman. I've been on faculty with Dr. Berman for many years, and it's my honor and a pleasure to speak to Dr. Berman on personal cell therapy. There's always something new in our marketplace. So if you can, speak to me about where is the personal cell therapy going, whether it's plasma-rich platelet, PRP, stem cell. What is it that is going to be new that you're going to speak to us about today?
Jay, it's great to be here with you. Let me tell you, I think we're in a new era of medicine. This is a transition that nobody really expected. There's a book called The Black Swan by Nassim Taleb, and he talks about how there's massively disruptive technologies that come along that you don't expect. When my partner Elliot Lander and I started working on stem cell therapy using your own personal DNA from your adipose tissue, no less, we had no idea it was going to be that big of a deal, but just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more important. We were told we'd be out of business in like a year, 2 years, because there'll be allogeneic product in a bottle. Well, that's the whole bent. Everybody's trying to come up with stem cells in a bottle from somebody else, some other source. The problem with that is we don't know what those sources can have. They could have viruses, prions, things we don't even know about. In fact, you know, the only FDA-approved stem cell product right now, it's for bone marrow stem cells from HLA-matched individuals for leukemia patients. Mm-hmm. And if you knew how many people die from that every year, it's outrageous. From 11 to 40% of the patients have serious problems because even though it's matched, they can get graft versus host disease, and then they have to be on medications that can end up killing you. So you're talking about an FDA-approved product that's dangerous. Your personal cells will fix things that you can't even believe are fixable.
Nothing like your own personal cells. You're never going to have any type of reaction to your own, correct?
Bingo. So you don't have a reaction. You can't get an infection. If you had HIV, I'd give back your own cells. I can't give you HIV again.
Correct.
But I couldn't take your cells and make them and put them in a lab because we're humans. Guess what? We're not raised in a sterile environment. Remember with collagen, they had to raise the cows in New Zealand and do all that stuff, keep them sterile? I haven't met a human raised in New Zealand yet in a sterile environment. But,
so where do you see it going? Now, I am a firm believer. I know for many years in different administrations, they wouldn't allow stem cell therapy. It didn't become legitimized. It wasn't legal to have. I'm a firm believer PRP and stem cell therapy. I mean, I personally had bilateral medial epicondylitis. I had it. It works. And there's nothing like taking something from your own body, right? Where do you see the future of this going, especially now? You as a board certified plastic surgeon, and I ask a lot of times, plastic surgeons, how do you get into many of the alternative measures of medicine? I mean, you're always going to be a physician. What brings you into this?
It's a great question. Two good questions, the future and how we get into it. Everybody used to criticize, what's a plastic surgeon? I'm actually a cosmetic surgeon. Mm-hmm. But how do we get into that area from cosmetic or plastic surgery? And the answer is we started working with fat. Years ago. I've been doing fat transfer for over 30 years.
Right.
I know I only look 65 even though I'm 66. I've been doing it a long time. And the reality is that the adipose tissue started working in the lab to figure out how we can grow more adipose. And you can grow a whole bunch of fat, but it all dies unless you have stem cells associated with when you inject it. So we learned accidentally that there were all these stem cells in fat. And from that, people started working on isolating and seeing what could grow out of those stem cells. You understand your fat is part of your structural body. That's what we call the mesoderm or mesenchymal system. So it turns out that cells in fat are mesenchymal stem cells. They can turn into bone, cartilage, muscle, nerve, fat, connective tissue, all these different things. And it's amazing because they can go and repair all these things like they did on you. I've had it done on me. I had it done on me just 3 weeks ago for a little sciatica thing I had. This stuff is amazing because it works so well. The future will be that we'll be able to take our cells, not just fix each other as point of care, but bank it and grow it and expand it.
Well, so we'll have it for the future. I was going to ask you about storing it because, look, I may not hurt now, I may not have a problem now, but one thing I can guarantee for the both of us, we're probably the same, we're the same age, you look a lot better than I do, but with that being said, What is your belief about storing it for the future? Because the younger people, look, we're going to get different type of, with osteoporosis, we're going to have different bone diseases, we're going to have different losses. If we're going to store it, how long do you think you can store it for? Just like people now freezing eggs.
No, you can store it forever. It's stored in liquid nitrogen at temperatures minus 190 degrees centigrade. So probably be able to store it indefinitely. And if we can keep multiplying numbers of your own cells, that means you potentially get your own DNA back and live even longer, healthier for a long, long time. I mean, we're talking about maybe 150 or 200 years. There could be great socioeconomic ramifications from having cell therapy. You realize we're just made up of cells. The only reason we get old and start falling apart is because we lose cells over time. My face is older looking because I've lost cells, particularly fat. That's what I started doing. It led me to the stem cells. And now I understand this is going on inside your body. Why don't people live beyond 120 years? One day you just don't have enough cells in your heart to conduct a heartbeat and the game's over. We can keep giving people back cells to make their hearts stronger, healthier, and live longer. We can reverse things that have been irreversible. We're doing it right now.
Mm-hmm. Now you mentioned one major organ, the heart, with the heart cells, but how about the liver and the kidney and the spleen and all these other things? Cancer is our number one demon right now. Do you feel that the stem cell therapy will aid and assist in the reduction of cancer cells?
In a different way. The liver you mentioned, rarely, if you're reasonably healthy, you never die from liver failure. You'll die from your heart or your brain before your liver. Your liver makes its own stem cells continuously through the biliary tree. It's a very interesting organ. That's why it can regenerate so well. And you can take part of a liver, transfer it, and grow a whole new liver back. But with cancer, the stem cells won't cause cancer, but what they do is they can go right to cancer cells because they're causing all this inflammation. Now, what we found, and we did a short study that was disrupted by our friends at the FDA, but we found that there's all these different things you could put into your stem cell to deliver to the cancer that could kill the cancer. For example, there are viruses that will kill the cancer, but your body will kill the virus. The vaccinia virus that we use for smallpox was the one we were researching. It's amazing. It can kill cancer without any side effects, because when it's done killing the cancer, it's released in your body kills it and gets rid of it. But there's chemicals and things you can put in. So there's doctors who've been working on putting chemotherapy into stem cells and use the stem cell like a Trojan horse to go to the tumor and deliver the medicine. So there's a lot of options for it. I don't think the stem cells are actually going to be cancer killers. They're there like those refueling ships in the sky. They've got all these cell components that you need to make your cells healthy. Or if your cell's actually dead, but it has enough messenger RNA, it can be signaled to replace or repair that cell. So
what type of patient do you recruit to have this type of a treatment, and how would they get to know? Because look, in the age of cash-based medicine, right? It's all about marketing. It's all about getting people to know that Dr. Mark Berman is the go-to guy. So a new surgeon coming into the market, coming out of their practices, how would they get into this? How would they get a patient base to be able to come to you? And what is the best type of a patient base to recruit to?
Well, Jay, we started an organization called Cell Surgical Network about 8 years ago, where we actually teach our technology to doctors who want to learn this. So it's very safe, very simple. Most of these people at this meeting all know how to do liposuction. We changed the technique a little from tumescent to subdermal block. It's simple, it's safe, it's amazingly easy. But what we encourage doctors to do is work in multi-specialty teams. So the first patient I ever treated, I worked with an orthopedic surgeon. And today, my partners are urologists. We have orthopedic surgeons, cardiologists, interventional radiologists, and other specialists who want to work with us, neurosurgeons, neurologists. And they all have their patients. The way I look at our cells is the way penicillin was years ago. When you first got penicillin, there'd probably be clinics that you would go to get your penicillin. But every doctor should have access to penicillin. Every doctor should have access to personal cell therapy. Ultimately, that will be the future. So everybody will get treated. If you had a concussion, you get cells right away, you'll get better. My son did a study on rats. We've done basic science studies that have led us to humans that have shown concussions completely reversible within the first 24, 48 hours if you get cells to that patient, your own cells. So if you don't have them stored, you get what you get. But if you have
Right.
your own cells, at least some fat and something available, you get those back.
Okay. Dr. Mark Berman, it is a pleasure to see you every year, as always. Thank you for being a pioneer in the new ages of different types of medicine instead of just the regular. Thank you for assisting in helping us to live longer. You're saying 120 or 140. I don't know about that one.
We're going to have to work a lot harder.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jay.
Okay.